Hey y'all, welcome to my review of TherapyNotes as an EHR for testing practices. As we go through the review, I'm going to follow a pretty consistent rubric for each of the EHRs. And if you have not seen prior videos, I will talk about that here quickly just so you know what to expect. So for each of the EHR reviews that I do, I have a section on basics and a section on testing. Now, basics include what does the pricing and agreement look like for TherapyNotes, and do they offer a free trial? What does client creation look like? What does appointment creation look like? How do you enter service codes, especially the base codes and add-ons? And what does the client portal look like? Then when we get to testing, I'm going to go over creating testing appointments, specifically the testing note template, billing for testing codes, and submitting insurance claims. So let's dig in to this review of TherapyNotes. Now, a lot of you who are long-term listeners know that I am a big fan of TherapyNotes. I've been with TherapyNotes for quite a while. And my navigation of TherapyNotes is likely going to be a lot smoother than some of the other EHRs, simply because I am pretty familiar with TherapyNotes. So the interesting thing, though, is that I haven't set up a new account in TherapyNotes for probably 10 years. So in a way, this is like a new experience. And I hope that fresh eyes will show up here during the review. So here we are. So this is the very first thing that you see when you log on to TherapyNotes for the first time. Now, the sign-up process was very easy. It took me about 1 minute to put in my information. They don't ask for a ton of information. They do not ask for a credit card. So you're not making a commitment. They do offer a free trial of a month. And then pricing after that is $49 per clinician. So let's jump in here. So right off the bat, I love the aesthetic of TherapyNotes. I like the blue color. I like the logo up in the corner. This is easy to read. So yeah, good impression right off the bat. Now, I see right here that TherapyNotes gives us a few prompts to work through right when we get into the system. I like this. So let's see, I'm going to bypass these things and jump right to client creation. Here we go. As you can see, I don't have any patients here, so I'm going to enter a new patient. Right, lots of information here. So I'm going to use myself as a patient for each of these things. Let's see. I'm going to leave that unknown so that nobody can steal my identity here. So we'll put in some basic information here. All right, so that auto-populates. That's pretty nice. Okay, looks like here you can choose which of these options you prefer, or the client prefers, which is great. You can put in an email address. Shout out to Text Expander. Okay. Now, one thing I do like about TherapyNotes is it asks plenty of questions about gender identity, sexual orientation, etc. You can put in this information if you would like. I am employed. All right, makes you check that box right away. Then you can add contacts like a partner or spouse or anyone like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that patient. Okay, that was pretty easy. Pretty straightforward, easy to navigate. Again, easy to read. So glancing across here, I'm going to go to billing settings just because I know this is where insurance happens in TherapyNotes. So you can check this box that says patient has insurance. If they don't have insurance, no worries, you don't check the box. Okay, so here we are running into the fact that there are no payers. So if there were, and we can set those up in the settings, they would all be listed here. So you select the payer, make sure that the authorization is signed. You can put in the relevant info here. One thing I like about TherapyNotes is that you can also change the party who's responsible for billing. And you can put pre-authorizations in here. This is important. Now, we don't have any service codes yet. Actually, we do. Look at that. They have already pre-populated some service codes, which is great. So you can put in pre-auths, the code, when they expire, and so forth. Now, if you enable credit card processing through TherapyNotes, there will also be a spot here to input the credit card information. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And in billing comments, this is where you can keep track of not authorizations, you can keep track of benefits checks, coverage, any billing errors, that sort of thing. Okay, so that is client creation. Let's check out appointment creation real quick. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to figure out how to do service codes. So I remember that when I logged on to TherapyNotes, it prompted me to customize my service codes. So let's click this link and see what that means. Okay. Looks like they've already pre-populated with some of the more common codes. Hey, shout out to TherapyNotes, I didn't know they did this, for putting a couple of eval codes in here right off the bat. That's great. Okay, so right here, charging missed appointment fees, you can put that info in if you would like. That's kind of nice. So let's jump into these service codes here. So it looks like we have the service codes we might need. We just want to add service codes for the feedback note and the thinking time. So let's try to do that and see how that goes. Okay, we have a nice drop-down menu here. It's going to give us the option to make this a psych eval. Okay, we're going to have to type in the code ourselves. This is not an add-on code. We can, let's just call this feedback and thinking first 60 minutes. All right, first 60 minutes, let's do that, and the default duration is 60 minutes. Okay, so units are important. Let's look at this and figure out what this is about. Now, for the base codes, we are always going to bill for 1 unit of that service, because you can only really bill 1 unit of the base code per session. So we will check that box and we will add our service code. Okay, that was pretty easy. Let's go back and create another one. Let's add a service code. We're going to do psych eval again. Let's do 96133. Now this is an add-on code, so it automatically puts the plus there, which is nice. I'm going to select this, but then I'm going to specify that it's an additional 60 minutes. Put in our rate. We do want to allow multiple units. Okay, there we go. That was easy enough. Okay, so now we have our service codes. I think this is enough to get us started to try to schedule an appointment. So I'm a new user to TherapyNotes, right? I got 2 places I might check. I could go back to this to-do because I know that TherapyNotes gave me a lot of prompts. So let's follow that. Enter your appointments to your TherapyNotes calendar. Okay, this looks good. Let's see. To me, I don't love that it defaults to this kind of agenda view. So being the person I am, I'm going to explore a little bit, see that I can get a day tab. Okay, that's today. That's cool. A week tab. Okay, I like that. I usually use the week view in my personal calendar in my phone, so let's do that. Okay, so let's create an appointment here. I see as I'm mousing over that you get the plus. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what pops up? Create new appointment. I'm going to go psych evaluation. The only patient is myself. Let's see. I'm sure there's some joke here about me seeing myself as a patient. I don't know what that is. Somebody more clever than me can write in a joke about this. Jeremy at thetestingpsychologist.com. All right. Main office. Okay, so yeah, we could do multiple locations if we wanted, but let's do... Ooh, I'm seeing a problem here. We do not have an intake code for psychological evaluations. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to back out. There we go. We're going to go back to settings, which is where our service codes live. And, yes, I see. So they put in 90791 for therapy intake. We need a 90791 for a psych eval intake. Okay. Let's see, you can put in the default, and we're always billing for 1 unit. Okay, there we go. So let's go back to our calendar here and see if we can't schedule an intake. Got the main office. Okay, there we go. So now we have an intake, defaults to an hour. Appointment alert, I might put HD and existential crisis. Okay, so all right, we've got an intake. That's awesome. Let's see about testing appointments. All right, going through the same process, and we're going to select the patient. And okay, yeah, let's do some testing here. No option for an add-on right at this screen. So I know that, for us, we typically do, let's just say 4 hours of evaluation, and I'll put testing on here. Okay, so you can see this pops up. You see the little reminder right there. And let's go through and just schedule a feedback appointment. Here we go. And I'll put feedback in the reminder. Okay, great. So I have my appointments, and I just noticed that in order to generate a note, we're going to have to put these in the past. So this is a good time to review how to change an appointment. So one thing about TherapyNotes that I know, I want to be able to click and drag this appointment. You can't do that, unfortunately. So what you got to do is jump in here. I'm just going to put these appointments in the past so that they will generate notes for me to write so that I can show you what that looks like. So I'm just moving all these back. Moving all these back a few days. You can see that they disappear pretty quickly. And go back to the previous week. Okay, so there's one. Now, where are my other two? They are not there. Okay, now this is because I put them on a Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to need to do this show weekend. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. So these appointments have happened. Let's see what these notes look like. How do I write notes for these appointments? If you click on the appointment, I noticed earlier there is a notes tab. So it's going to prompt me to create a psychological evaluation or missed appointment note. Okay, so let's assume I came to my own appointment. Okay, so here's the note template. like this, requesting party, let's just say PCP. We're going to rule out ADHD, and we got the service code and so forth up there. Now let's see what we've got going on here. So this is one of the things that I really like about TherapyNotes and have enjoyed for a long time, is that their testing note template, and this is specific to testing. This is not the same note that pops up for a therapy session, because we designated this as a psychological evaluation specific 90791. So here we go. So as you can see, they have boxes where you can type in the duration. So this is a 60-minute clinical interview. We will mess with these boxes on our testing appointment notes. And then you can click this box. And then one thing I like about TherapyNotes is they have a little auto-populating selecting menu here where you can just select the diagnoses. Now, you can put comments in here. Down the road, this might become important. You can put their testing date right there if you'd like. And then I'll go ahead and sign that note. Okay, I like that. That was pretty easy. Okay, let's see what else we have. So I happen to know about TherapyNotes that whenever you have notes to write, they pop up on a to-do list. I'm going to clear out this to-do list just to give us a little more streamlined view. I don't want to, I don't want to clear out everything because some of these things might be important for the review. Okay, so as you can see, if there's a patient note to write, it prompts you to write that note. So I'm going to go to the testing note first. One cool thing about TherapyNotes is you don't have to fill in this information every time. You just click this history button. You can see that PCP from the previous note is in there, as is rule out ADHD. And now, this is where we can give a little more detail. So let's say we spent 60 minutes on the MMPI-3. Let's say we did 75 minutes of the Rorschach. I know there are people out there who are probably screaming at me because that's not how long it takes. I don't do the Rorschach, so intellectual measures. So yeah, we can type in any number of things here. You get the idea. So you can add, let's see, I'm not sure if you would consider, say, the Wyatt an intellectual measure, but you could put that there. You might put that, we could put that under other measures. Yeah. So you could do any number of things. They do have a spot for professional consultation and collateral interviews, which are all thinking time. Now, they also have boxes up here for review of records. They don't have a box for preparing the testing materials or synthesizing and planning the battery, that sort of thing. I would be tempted to put that under review of records, most likely. But otherwise, there's this is pretty comprehensive for documenting the time that we need or the time that we spend on testing appointments. Again, you can just calculate right there. And you can put additional notes down here if you need to further specify any time that you spent or activities you engaged in. Now, one thing I noticed, so we have 390 minutes. Doing some quick math, I know that's 6.5 hours. So let's see. Doesn't look like this code is automatically updating. So I think we have to manually go in and put this add-on code. And this is something that trips us up in TherapyNotes often, is forgetting to put this add-on code. I would love to see it auto-populate and auto-math. So if these are half-hour units, we have 6.5 hours total. One of those half hours was occupied here. Then we have 6 hours we need to account for, right? That is going to be 12 units, right? So that's more than most insurance companies will reimburse, but that's where we're at. So we'll update the header. You can see that it fixes it, changes that information. We can assign and create the note. Okay, so pretty easy. I like how you can specify the time and the measure. And one thing that you won't necessarily see, actually, I will showcase this in the next appointment. So let's hold that thought. But this is relatively easy. Do wish that this would auto-populate, but perhaps that's an update down the road. Now, again, I like TherapyNotes because it gives you these reminders in multiple places. So it says one to-do item here. If I just mouse over that, it will show me that I need to create a psych eval note for the feedback session. So let's do that. Okay. Again, we're going to use this history button to auto-populate. Now here, again, this is thinking time, feedback, appointment, any number of other things. So I wish that TherapyNotes would label a box as feedback. I typically put it here under collateral interview and just say parents or client. You can add, if you did another collateral interview with a PCP, nobody ever gets 60 minutes with a PCP, so let's change that. And then you can put the time that you spend on the written report. Check the box just to make sure, and then you can calculate. Okay, so we've ended up here with, I'm going to make this a little more even because that raises a billing issue, and how do you account for 15-minute increments in hour-long codes? Don't want to get into that. So, okay, so we have 5.5 hours of time spent here. So again, we're going to need to go up and change that. So one of those hours was accounted for here. That leaves us 4.5 hours. I just happen to know that half hours, 31 minutes theoretically, count toward another unit. So let's see. So we need 5 additional units there. I think that's right. Okay, our note is updated. You can put if you release the report or not. You can put if there's an appointment needed, and then you sign the note. Okay. So let's see what would happen here if we wanted to do some billing and submit some insurance claims. As you will remember, I did not put in any insurance information for this particular client. So let's go back and do that. Okay. So we don't have a payer. What do we do here? Oh, hey, there's a tab up here that says payers. Let's go ahead and add a new payer. I'm just going to do Anthem because they're pretty, let's do that. Anthem Blue Cross. Let's say we're in network. And I think that is good. Okay, so it's prompting us that needs the tax ID, the NPI, the address, all those good things. So let's save this payer just to have it. We're going to go back to patients. Let's see if it will let us create insurance claims. No, we still have to go specify which insurance this person has. So let's choose Anthem Blue Cross. We'll type in a member ID. And let's see. You can upload a copy of their insurance card if you'd like. Save those changes. Okay, now let's go back to billing settings and see if we can submit a claim. Yes, so this is what it looks like when you are able to submit claims through insurance. They will all read pending EDI over here. You simply click that. Ah, yes. So it's giving us a bunch of warnings. We need to input this practice info. We need to, make sure that we have an address. So all that makes sense. But suffice it to say, when you put that information in there, you click pending EDI, and then it is one more click after that to submit the claims. You just click the check boxes beside the appointments you want to submit, and you hit submit claims, and off they go. So pretty easy there. Now, another piece that I want to close with is the client portal. So I remember a reminder about the client portal. And where is that? Where is that reminder? Patient portal. Okay. So this is in settings. I can see that. So let's go ahead and enable the portal. Okay. So this pops up a whole host of things. Now, what I know, you can change the message, you can change the color, you can change who requests their appointments and views their appointments. Okay. So if you're someone who likes to have clients request their own appointments, this works pretty well. We do not do that in our practice. Again, you can change all these messages, allow documents to be shared. That sounds great. And some settings. Now, it does give you a link, so you can put this on your website if you'd like. So let's save the portal settings and see what happens. Let's go back to patients and see if anything has changed in terms of the portal. Yes, now I have a new tab called Portal. Okay, I'm not going to put my birth date in. Actually, let's do a fake birthday and see how that. All right. So let's see what that changes. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, you could send a welcome email. That sounds great. So that would invite me to go to the portal and use it. Let's see what share documents means. Okay. Doesn't look like we're sharing any documents. We might have to upload some documents. Yeah, we could upload some documents. Now, ooh, okay. So again, I'm just trying to go through this as if it's the first time. So library, let's see what this patient information form is. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want to exit. Send document request. Okay, let's do that. Has been shared on the portal. Okay, so let's see what this patient information form looks like. Okay, so this is a TherapyNotes created form that kind of mirrors the demographic info. I'm guessing that it was shared with me via email and I could fill out this information myself. Okay, let's go to the library and see. Yes, here's where it gives a few of the other forms. So you could also send a patient contact form, which could be helpful. You can also do a payment authorization form. It does give you a message that you have to have credit card services enabled, which is fine. Okay, and this would map right on to the TherapyNotes credit card processing, which is great. Okay, so one complaint that I know about TherapyNotes is that their patient portal and the ability to send paperwork to clients is not as advanced as some other EHRs. And you can see that here. There are some basic client forms that you can send, but it is not as robust maybe as some of the other portals that we maybe see on other EHRs. Now, my understanding is that you can upload another file, like your own consent form, your own demographic form, but the limitation is that you can only have it signed. They don't do fillable PDFs. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. So theoretically, you could upload your own consent form, request that the patient sign it after it was shared, and you can also have the patient upload it if you want. Okay, so there you have it. Things that I like about TherapyNotes: it is pretty easy to navigate for me. It is aesthetically pleasing, which I like. It's nice and clean. It's easy on the eyes, big font, and menus that are pretty easy to navigate. Seeing the help and contact us buttons reminds me that TherapyNotes support is fantastic. They're very responsive. You talk to a real person every time from the US. It's very, very helpful. And also, smooth operation, pretty easy to navigate. I like the testing note template right out of the box. I think that's pretty cool. The insurance claim submission process is pretty easy once you put the insurance info in. And I do like this prompting system where they kind of walk you through the things that you need to do when you first log on to the system. So these are all good things. Things that I think could be a little better are, the client portal could be a little more robust to allow for fillable PDFs and so forth. Adding service codes, especially add-ons, is a little bit complicated. You just need to make sure that you check exactly the right boxes and specify the right time frames when you are entering those service codes. And like you saw on the testing note, I really wish that the add-on codes would auto-populate and auto-add or multiply or divide to do the math to calculate the number of units for you. Those would all be helpful. Otherwise, though, TherapyNotes is a solid system. It's an industry leader for a reason. It is the EHR that we have been using in our practice for years and years, and I really have very few complaints about it. It's a very solid system. So I hope you enjoyed this review of TherapyNotes as an EHR for testing psychologists. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series. They will be hitting the channel in the coming weeks, and my hope is that you get quite a bit out of that and can help you decide on an EHR. All right, bye for now.